This project's goal is to see if adding in a trivia game, Kahoot, and an adaptive learning platform, Cerigo, into the classroom can increase student engagement and their involvement, as well as increasing their exam scores. So based off of that, my project is split into two separate portions, and that is the exams and the survey analysis. The survey analysis is meant to see if the students are increasing their engagement by a control semester where we did not administer Kahoots or Cerigo, and then compared to a semester where we have Kahoot and the semester where we have Kahoot and Cerigo. Unfortunately, our semester, fall 2019, that had Kahoot and Cerigo, we are not using because of outside variables that we thought affected the data too heavily to compare to the other semesters. And then our final exam data is to see if semesters, which we have semesters all the way back to 2014, on this same final exam, if scores are increasing on average to these questions that we can ask on a Kahoot, and see if these scores are increasing to increase the overall average, because by increasing the average at Whitewater of students who answer correctly by one question, we increase the national percentile that Whitewater ranks by 3%. On average. I am passionate about my research. As a STEM student, my professors can take steps to increase my level of understanding and even my engagement in a course by simply adding in a 10-minute review at the start of the course. I will be a STEM teacher, so if I see positive results in this, I can apply it later on in life and maybe even increase the amount of students who want to follow a career in biology or chemistry. The inspiration for this research came from my mentor, Dr. Girard. He was playing trivia in a social setting and thought, why not bring this into the classroom? It's a fun thing that even students enjoy to do, whether it's at the UC on campus or some of their local restaurants. The equipment, as I mentioned before, is Kahoot and Cerigo. And for those who don't know what Kahoot is, it is a trivia game that gives students about 30 to 60 seconds to answer a multiple choice question, usually focuses on quick fact memorization or applying knowledge that they've learned. We also use Qualtrics survey software. This is how we collect all of our survey data, and we administer one every 3 weeks. And we can port this information directly into Excel, where it lumps the total of people who chose a certain answer on a certain question into that column, and even gives us the percent of students who chose that. Excel is just amazing with the data processing that we can do, the amount of data we can take. It's here, huge, and condense it down to here, to graph it, show it in a chart, and explain it to people. And what the project requires me to do. Data funneling. That might sound like a weird term. I will explain more in these next coming slides, but then I also have to use outside the box thinking. Nobody has really done research similar to this yet, so I can't just go like, oh, they did it this way, so let me try doing it this way. As well as decision making. I have to decide which questions from the two copies of the final exam, but I should say that the final exams are identical. The only difference is the question and the answer choices are in different order. Otherwise, for that, they're completely identical. To decide which questions can we target and see if the change in answers that we were seeing is affected by Kahoot, because those are questions that we target on Kahoot. I told you I would talk a little bit more about data funneling. This is all of the data from just the first of 5 surveys. So we have 4 more of these, and we have to condense this data down into a way that we can use it. So one way we decided to do that was to funnel it into just using all the students who chose agree. We go from slightly agree to moderately agree to strongly agree across all of these, and these are all of the surveys that we have data for. So much smaller, much more condensed, and it's showing the same information compared to what we had on the previous slide. We can take those numbers and make it into a level of agree. How strongly are the students agreeing on average? Now, this is really good to see because we see if they're slightly agreeing, moderately agreeing, or strongly agreeing based off a weighted average equation that we apply to all of the data. And this is really useful because now we have something we can graph to show how these students are answering and how it's actually changing between the semesters compared to each other. This is some positive data on the surveys, but the positive data that we see is mainly in these 4 questions that we asked. And these 4 questions, they're showing that students are getting to know other people more, they're feeling more equal, they're feeling like they belong in the class more, and they feel like they're more of an important member. And if they can have these and feel better about themselves in the class, they don't have to worry about this as much, and they can focus more on the material, which we would hope then would go into the exam data. The exam data we are still working with, but what we do have here on the left side is the correct percent of students between, again, the 2 copies of the exams. To compare, fall 2017 and prior, they have no Kahoot exposure, and then 2018 and 2019, they do have Kahoot exposure, and we see that a lot of these questions increase in percentage and have the highest amount of students who get that question correct actually in the fall 2018 or fall 2019 semester. And again, when we come over and compare them directly aggregated, so on average, the amount of students who got it correct in fall 2018 and 2019, And then the average of fall 2017 and prior, we see that 21 questions of the 35 questions we are looking at are answered higher with Kahoots, leading to us believe that we have positive results. So yeah, that's really what I'm doing. Surf is amazing. Hope more people can do it next year. Thank you.